Well, good morning, Miramar, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tamara G. As always, you can check us out on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City of Miramar. And we have two very special guests today to talk to us about something that, even though September shines a spotlight on National Suicide Prevention Month, it is truly something that people struggle with every day. So we're going to get right into it. We have with us Dr. Delvena Thomas. I know her very well. Yes, my heart is with you, sis. She is my line sister in the greatest sorority ever, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And she also was in front of me the whole time. So, as we like to call my front, I was her back. And she is a board certified psychiatrist and the founder of the DRT Brain Love Foundation. We'll be talking more about what that foundation does, particularly as it relates to mental illness and getting help and also suicide prevention. We also have with us Diondra Ford Wing. Diondra is an author From Silence to Healing, Reimagining Mental Health in the Black Community. She's a writer, speaker, and passionate mental health advocate, the author of Redbird, actually, a deeply personal narrative. And we're going to talk to her as well about mental health in the Black community and just in communities in general, because it seems like it is on display every time you turn around. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, so Dr. Delvena, as she is affectionately known in South Florida and around the world because she travels to talk about this, your passion, particularly as a psychiatrist, has always been about the wellness and health of people's brains. Tell us why this is so important, particularly in this time and space.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, sis. I appreciate you.
No problem.
I've always been an advocate for mental health, even as a young girl, not knowing that the Lord was designing my path so that I could become a board certified psychiatrist. I didn't realize it, but I was always the person taking up for the underdog, always the person protecting kids being bullied, speaking up when things weren't proper or when people weren't getting treated fairly. So when I went to medical school to become an OB-GYN to deliver babies and practice women's health, it was a shocker to me that I didn't have surgical skills, and then fell in love with psychiatry and neurology. So that was the Lord letting me know, I don't want you delivering babies. I need you to save lives mentally.
Wow. And, for many, many years, and you know this as a board certified psychiatrist, it has been taboo, uh, hidden that
Yeah.
people are suffering with mental thoughts that maybe don't line up with how everyone else thinks. Why do you think now that it seems like every time we turn on the TV, doc, it is like coming to the forefront that people are dealing with stuff?
Well, unfortunately, I'll put the negative out there first and I'll clean it up. I think it's being exploited. We began exploiting mental health and wellness during the pandemic. And what do I mean by exploiting? Well, there are a lot of fakers and pretenders out here pretending to be mental health experts, pretending to be mental health professionals all over social media, giving out bad advice, not licensed. So that has led to the positive, which is, and it includes people sharing their mental health challenges, people going online and saying, hey, I'm having a problem. And so I think it's a combination of we have more access to communication, to exposure. People have become more comfortable. We know that the younger generation are not like ourselves, where we were more clandestine, covert, hid a lot of things because our families told us that's family business, don't share that. And so now that there's a combination of there was the pandemic, we know that a lot of people were suffering. And then people came out and they wanted to be known for being a mental health professional, although they weren't licensed. And so it's a dirty combination of sorts. But the end result is that we're talking more about mental health and wellness. And that's the thing that matters the most.
Okay. And speaking of talking about it, Deandra, you're joining us today to talk about your journey, and what you have been through and how you've come out on the other side. But why did you decide or want to be a mental health advocate?
Well, it's one of the topics that I covered in my book, Redbird. Um, I had the mind frame of if I'm going to tell it, then I'm going to tell it all if I wrote this memoir. So the memoir was basically about losing my mom, and she was my major advocate for my health care, for my mental health well being. I was 24 when I tried to take my life. And it's something that at 46, I can say fluidly and not have the fear, the shame, the stigma attached to it. And I think that what Dr. Davina was saying earlier is it rings true. People are talking about it more, yes, but there needs to be people who are in a seat that she's in who can actually bring not only rhetoric, but actual thoughts and facts and figures to this beast that we have for mental health. So it's something near and dear to my heart as someone who went through it and still goes through it today. I have to reframe my thinking. I have to reframe and train my brain to know that yes, you do have this deficit, but it's not going to end you. And that's the thing that I didn't have when I was 24.
46 looking like 24 right now. So just to let you know. Uh,
Stop it.
yes, yes, yes. Life has been good. So,
Yes.
what space were you in now that you can look back on it? Thank God that you're here. Now that
Yes.
you can look back on it, what space were you in for those who are, looking at this and maybe going through that same space right now that you just wanted to end it all? Like, what was that about?
It was the not being good enough. I work in corporate America, and there's not a lot of us in corporate America, especially now that I'm a director. At the time, I was just an individual, contributor in a role that was in sales, very fast paced, very high energy. And I felt that even though I was bringing so much to the table, that it was never, ever enough. And I had just had it. I was just like, I'm burnt out. I am feeling the weight of all the things that I haven't yet accomplished. And I was setting myself up for failure in that regard. But again, you pick up the tools to learn how to treat yourself and how you want to be seen in this world. And like I said, had it not been for my mom who did not want to bury her daughter, not, to the hands of something as gripping as it is with suicide, I got the help that I needed. And I learned the tools and the valuable lessons I needed to learn to deal with this world. And that's the truth.
So, okay, so now we got to go back to Dr. Delvena because what Diondra just said, the two things that struck me. She said that she felt like she wasn't good enough. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
matter whatever she did. So do you hear that a lot in your practice when you are speaking with men and women who are contemplating suicide? And then the second thing that she said was she had to learn how to deal with this world. Like you just
Yep.
can't give up just because you don't get what you want or some things don't go your way. If that was the case, all of us would not
Oh
be here
yeah.
because things go wrong every day. So, Dr. Delvina.
Allow my lead in to be this. Life is difficult. Life is hard for all of us. I tell my patients that in the office. I tell the patients that in the hospital, on the crisis unit. I tell everyone, allow me to normalize this for you. Life is hard for all of us. Life is not easy. Sometimes we sit and we look at another person with a lot of money or who appears to have the love of their life or whatever the case may be. And we think, oh, their life is perfect. No one's life is perfect. The Lord didn't make this world to be perfect. And I like to say, we are here as a punishment. We are here as a punishment. This is not heaven. These are not the streets of gold. So we are always going to endure challenges. As much as we may try to make the best, the healthiest decisions, sometimes you enter a season and you're in that season because it's just your turn, it's your time. Not being the best that you can be or not feeling confident about who you are is a common error that we make when we look at ourselves and we don't think we're good enough. We have to start teaching our children from a young age that you're the best, You're the best at what you do. You are good enough. Even when it doesn't go your way, don't look at it like it didn't go your way because you weren't the best. It didn't go your way because it wasn't your time. And God probably has something else in store for you. I'm sure we've all heard that a lot,
Yes.
especially in Black homes. God has something else in store for you. We come up with all these different sayings to help us get through it. So those things are very common. Men, with women, also with teens. And this event in September, this month, we're talking about children and teens and how to give them the skills that they need to cope with stress. So these things don't follow them into their adulthood. So they know how to deal when they have the negative thinking. They know how to deal when they have a stressful situation.
If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for watching Good Morning Miramar. I'm your host, Tamara G. We are speaking here with Dr. Delvena Thomas. She is a board certified psychiatrist right here in South Florida. She also is the founder of the DRT Brain Love Foundation. They have a big event coming up on September 18th. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. With us today as well, Diondra Ford Wing. She is an accomplished author, writer, speaker. She has written the book called Redbird. Is a deeply personal narrative, and she's speaking on her time when she was 24 and as a suicide survivor. So we are happy to have both of them here with us today to just talk about, what is this that is happening with people. And I think Dr. Delvina just, put it kind of right there in perspective is that people are not figuring out how to cope with things that are happening with them, to them, woe is me, everything is bad, I swear all the time, I get one bill paid off and then something else major happens. And I swear, I'm like, when is this going to end? And then I say, thank you, Lord, for allowing me to have the money to fix it.
Mhm.
I think it's just a mindset in how you have to think about things because, yes, something goes wrong every single day, right, Dr. Delvina?
Absolutely. Yes. And having that faith in God, religion, spirituality, those are some of the keys some of the pieces to the puzzle to help us to keep things in perspective.
Wow. Okay. And so there is this big event that is going on. It is happening on September the 18th. Tell us all about this because I am loving this whole theme and everything you got going on here.
Yes. Well, sort of kind of, I'm a little creative at times. So, if you will, allow me to just give some statistics, just a couple of minutes about youth suicide, so children and teens. In 2021, suicide was the third leading cause of death amongst US high school students, ages 14 to 18, let's say. Suicide has become a major reason for death in children ages 5 to 9. We've seen that the trends have gone upward and majority, children of the majority, we see the rates have gone down a little bit. So meaning white children. And Black children and teens, we've seen a much sharper rise. It's the fastest growing suicide rate. It, as in the suicide rates amongst our Black children and teens. Between 2007 and 2020, the suicide rate amongst Black youth ages 10 to 17 rose by 150%. That's the fastest increase amongst all racial groups. And I'll tell you this too.
Okay.
Children, Black children ages 5 to 12 commit suicide at almost twice the rate of their white peers. So there I have set up the foundation for folks to understand why we have to do this. A year ago, I went to Udonis Haslem and I said, hey, you have a foundation for mental health that's been around for 20 years. I created my foundation in 2018. Let's come together and put on a summit, a suicide prevention summit for our children in the community. We spoke to Miami-Dade College North. Shelly King is the executive director for Udonis Haslem Foundation. She talked with Miami-Dade North, who they partner a lot of times on events. They became a partner. So the first summit took place on a Saturday at Miami-Dade College North. This year, we're doing the summit again on a Saturday for children and teens, but I also wanted to add an element just for the adults. So this Thursday, this reception on a Thursday, September 18th, Arabian Nights, this is for the adults to come together and for them to experience a live brain love mental health event curated by yours truly. And I love it because the city of Opa-locka has such a rich history. The
Mhm.
architecture is based on Moroccan history. The mayor there, John H. Taylor, is a co-host with me for the event that night. Super Cindy is the MC. We have a listening lounge that includes a lot of different presentations, including Diondra Ford Wing, who's flying in from Austin, Texas. We
Nice.
have Zarina Davis flying in from Atlanta, Georgia. She wrote a book called Surviving Shame. We have a panel of mothers who will be talking about their own personal experiences with their children who died by suicide. And we have a college panel called Campus Confessions, where these young adults will talk to us and tell us, what are we missing?
Wow. Okay. So even just, partnering with Miami Heat great Udonis Haslam, I love the fact that you guys did this collaborative and coming together to work together because really we're all working for the same thing. We're trying to keep families together, keep them safe, keep our kids together. I want to go back to those ages and the years that you said it went up 100%. Was that corresponding with the pandemic? Those years
No,
again?
ma'am. No, not with the pandemic.
Pretty.
Because the children ages 5 to 12, these rates, we started doing these surveys in 2007.
Okay.
So that was way before the pandemic. I moved to Miami in 2007. When I moved to Miami in 2007, they started these surveys with Black children to see what's going on with kids because we were noticing that more Black children and teens were dying by suicide.
Mhm. And Deandra, I wanted to bring you into this as well
Yeah.
because now that you have become an advocate and you've gone out and speaking to young people, what do you tell them? Because I assume that they're like everybody else. They don't think anybody else is going through this except for them, and yet you have gone through it and you've come out on the other side.
And it's so interesting because when you talk to, youth about what they're feeling, you're often met with, well, I don't know. And it's a valid answer because when you're growing up, you really don't know how you're feeling. I remember grappling with this in my early preteens, like around 11, premenstrual, all that stuff, and just trying to understand my body, trying to understand the thoughts that I was having. And the thing that I'm met with is I don't know how I'm feeling. And that's okay. That's not a terrible thing, but the moment that you start to deviate from a positive way of thinking is where things can kind of go left, and that's what we're trying to stop. We're trying to head it off at the pass in most cases. So it's interesting. I get a lot of I don't knows. I get a lot of, well, I can't talk about that because we keep things in our family and we don't go telling our business. And I grew up with that, so I can fundamentally relate just on a base level. So it's all over the place, to be honest with you.
And Dr. Delvena, I want to also ask about, you think you see kids today. Well, I'm sorry, let me go to yesteryear. You're active, you're in student council, you're in band, you're in cheerleading, you've got tons of friends. It seemed like those kids did seem to be happier because they had a social aspect, don't know what was going on, in the background and in the house or anything. But today's kids, most of them don't even want to talk on the phone. Most of them don't even go out. Most of them have made friends with a chat GBT. I'm like, it's not even a real person. So, is that stereotype true that if the kids are more outgoing, then they probably will not commit suicide or try to commit suicide versus a child who maybe spends all their time in their room or they're playing video game. They're literally playing video games with people they don't know. Like they have no social outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just watching this from observation, I'm not a psychiatrist. So
Yeah, that is a great question. You're not a psychiatrist, you just play one on the radio,
there you
sis.
go. There every day.
Yes, yeah, but no, awesome question. And I don't think there's been specific studies to survey that, but I'll say this: there are plenty of people who die by suicide who appear to be social, outgoing. Let's take the former Miss USA, I believe was her title,
Yeah.
who died by suicide from jumping from a tall
One.
building in New York. She jumped to her death. And everyone thought that, you know, her life was great. It's one of these things where you look at another person, you don't know their true story. She was very outgoing. She was a lawyer, very social,
Beautiful.
appeared to be very beautiful, yes, appeared to be social on social media, but was very unhappy. So I don't think that necessarily there's a correlation, because really, do we really know these people? What I'll say, where the correlation lies, is that children who are more physically active, who get more fresh air, who are not always on the phone or the social media, will develop better, and their brain will function better, because physical activity has been highly linked to increasing natural endorphins. Those are the chemicals that help us to feel better, that help us to combat stress, sadness, anxiety, or nervousness. So we know there is a correlation between physical activity, exercise, as well as fresh air. So I would say superficially that yes, you're correct, that that has a lot to do with something, because we know when people are more active, they have a community, which means they're communicating with people, they're social, they're interacting, that more than likely they will fare better versus the person who isolates.
Okay, perfect. And that is the reason why you're having this event on September 18th for the adults. The kids are going to be taken care of at a different time, but the adults are happening on this September 18th at 6 p.m. in the city of Opa-locka. Where can people get tickets? How much is it? Because I'm sure there are going to be parents that are there or would want to be there who are having to deal with this with their kids. And
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And we know that parents who suffer from mental illness, there's more of a likelihood that your child will also develop a mental health problem or challenge or mental illness. And allow me to say this, nearly 50% of African American youth under the age of 18 have a diagnosable mental health disorder. So, but only 50 to 75% of these kids, I'm sorry, I mean to say 50 to 75% of the children do not get mental health care. Affordability, access to care is all a part of that. So that's why we're raising funds for Udonis Haslam's foundation, my foundation, so that we can continue to provide access to care to children and teens as well as to adults. If you go on Zeffy.com, which is Z as in Zulu, EFFY, or Eventbrite, and you do a search for Arabian Nights, it will come up. Zeffy, there are no fees. If you go into Eventbrite, there is a fee, or you can call me 305-981-1700. I'll assist you with getting a ticket. If you can't afford it, let me know. We will get you in the door anyway. And you can find me on social media. It's at Dr. Delvena, DrDelvena, and I can assist you that way as well.
Sounds good. So everybody needs to put that date down on their calendar, September 18th. Diondra, before we go, I would just love for you to talk to parents out there who are having to deal with a child, or, again, parents are not immune to possibly having suicidal thoughts, but to a parent who they are wondering what could they have done differently? What did I do wrong? What could,
Yeah.
because I'm sure your parents also asked that question because they're just,
Mm-hmm.
what happened here?
Yeah. And even though I was well of age at 24 when I, tried to end my life, my mom really, really took it to heart. She took it really hard when I woke up in the hospital bed in the ER. And I was like, what is this wetness that's covering my face? Because it wasn't my tears, they were hers. Her crying over me because she just didn't know why. She didn't know the why. And what I would ask parents to do is don't blame yourself. If your kid tries to commit suicide and they fail, look at it as an opportunity to help and to provide guidance to them from that point on. For those parents who have lost children, again, you cannot blame yourself. My mom, like Delvena said, you can be the most extroverted person on the planet. You can have all these things. And this is me. I am her. I am that person. I'm very outgoing. I'm very loud. And I hid it. So in most cases, those children are probably hiding their pain. And the most you can do is look out for it. The most you can do is have an active listening ear. And that's my advice.
Sounds good. All right. So one more time, Dr. Delvena, for people to come out to this great event. It's going to be Arabian Nights on September 18th. This is the adults. They already have something for the kids planned, a full day of activities for them. But for the adults who want to come out and show support and to get help themselves, because again, everybody's dealing with something. How can they do that?
Yep, please go to Zeffy.com, Zeffy, Eventbrite, do a search for Arabian Nights in the Miami area. Pull me up on social media at Dr. Delvena, DR, D as in Delta, EL, V as in Victor, ENA, or call my office at 305-981-1700.
All right, Dr. Delvena Thomas, board certified psychiatrist, also my line sister in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Thank you so much for coming today. She is having this event. She also is the founder of DRT Brain Love Foundation. We have Diondra Ford Wing, who is coming to town to be speaking at this event that's happening on September 18th, and also with the kiddos as well to discuss her journey. She is an accomplished author, writer, and speaker, but her journey of when she tried to end her life at 24 and now at 46, looking good,
Yes.
good. And discussing that and sharing it with people because, truly, if people don't know what folks are going through or what they may be going through, you just think you're the only person all the time, right, Dr. Dale?
Yeah.
And that's not true.
Yep. Yep. That's easy to do. Thinking it's only happening to you, whereas you are not on an island alone. You're there with several 100,000 millions of people.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get the help we need. And of course, you can always reach her at Dr. Delvena. Go online. And if you do need her services, you can always use those as well. Thank you, ladies, so much for talking about this and for this important month. Again, National Suicide Prevention Month, but this is every month because it seems to be happening more and more every day. And we do want to prevent people from taking their lives because life is so precious and there's so much going on that, we all want to live it and enjoy it.
Yes.
Yep. You said it best, sis.
All
Thank you.
right. And thank you so much for watching Good Morning Miramar. Until next time, I'm your host, Tamara G. See ya.